It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
DJ and PK, we're getting kickoff times for college football games in September. Arkansas and Utah are going to play in the fourth TV window, 8:30 kickoff. You know the drill. The Arkansas Athletic Director...
You mean 8:15, but will be 8:30.
Yeah, sure. The Arkansas Athletic Director is complaining about his team's late-night start at Utah in September. How much sympathy you got? Christy, none. We're used to it. I think he's just heard how scary Rice Eccles is after dark. David, zip, zero, nada. Ricky, none at all. Play ball.
It's not after dark. That would be then dark is over. It's during dark. You signed up for it knowing that teams at this side of the country have a potential to be in that window.
It's been happening for a long time. Shouldn't be surprised for someone in his role.
Right. And they want good matchups throughout the day, obviously.
Right.
So this is, Arkansas is rebuilding, and Utah isn't. And so Utah, at that point, would not be surprised at all if they're ranked. And plus, there's going to be a curiosity. Utah has a brand name now. I don't think you can deny that they have a brand name. And so people who follow college football are going to be interested. Hey, how's that Utah team doing now that they lost that tough guy coach?
Yep.
There's three things I can count on: death, taxes, and the toughness of Utah, right? Well, the Mr. Tough Guy is in Ann Arbor right now. So how's it going to be? It's early in the season. I'm going to check that out. Just to get a feel for what's going on out there. For us, it's a feel for what's going on here, not out there, but I'm talking about people back there, wherever there is. So I can see why they would want the Utes in that time frame. And Arkansas, I don't know why I said Nebraska, but Arkansas, once you agreed to have this home and home, you agreed to the possibility of the game being at that time. Now, do I think it's ridiculous to start games at that time? Yes. But we've all thought that.
But since we got, 15, 20 years of this stuff, don't be surprised.
Right.
And to me, it's the second that thing's announced, it's a coin flip. Are you going to get the 1:30 kickoff on Fox, where Big 12 games routinely go, or are you going to get an 8:15 kickoff on ESPN, where games routinely go? Exactly what you say about the brand name, the SEC. People generally are curious. SEC teams don't travel a lot. Whenever they do, there's a little curiosity factor with that. How good is the SEC? They keep saying they're great.
Well, also how good is Arkansas?
And Arkansas has been at the bottom of the SEC.
I don't think it's about Arkansas. I think it's about Utah.
I would agree.
That's what they're used to. People are not going to tune into that game. Oh, I got to see Arkansas. No, I want to see how the Utes are going to do without a guy who's been there for 20-some years and won multiple conference titles and went to Rose Bowls and beat Alabama and Nick Saban in the Sugar Bowl and on and on and on.
The very next week, Utah State is in that 1:30 kick time. But it's a coin flip deal. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Who else is playing, and what other games are available? It is a box of chocolates. Ironically, the team that has a 1:30 kickoff game that week is BYU. They're playing Arizona. Conference game.
That's respect right there. And you've got BYU clearly, inarguably, is a national brand. We got to get past this.
And Arizona's coming off a good year with a good quarterback.
And if Arizona had been what they were 2 years ago, then maybe not.
Right. Then it might have been the 8-15 game, maybe.
Right.
But of the 4 teams, Arkansas is a weak link, and you don't know what kind of competition they're going to provide. So Fox opted for Arizona BYU, figuring you never know if a game's going to be competitive, but you got a better chance. And you got more, it's easier to hype that game up. So they took BYU
and it's
Arizona.
a conference game.
Conference game, easier to hype up.
Because the Cougs are playing Notre Dame later on. So week 2, a conference game between, on paper,
2 teams
two
coming
good
off
teams.
Good. Yeah, who both have their quarterback back.
Right.
Yeah.
That is something that is more attractive than what Arkansas can offer right now. And that's when you're making these decisions. So decisions are literally made right now. They're made months ahead of time. So I get it. Now it has a chance to be burning hot in Provo that day.
So it's funny you mentioned that because James posts, the Arkansas AD is not thinking this through. Afternoon games in September can be around 100 degrees and no fun for anyone. To which he gets replied, well, they're coming from Arkansas. It'll be cooler to them no matter what. I don't blame him for being mad. The thing is, Gary Crowton always said this, and then he backed it up. It's the dry heat. It kind of freaks teams out. You're breathing, your throat's stuck. You can't. He says he brought teams out of humidity, and it's hot, but it's not the same kind of thing. And for all the struggles Crowton had, he had a really good record in non-conference games in September. He beat a bunch of people. Georgia Tech, might beat Syracuse, obviously beat Notre Dame. There are a bunch of teams coming out here who didn't win, didn't play well. And he always thought it was an advantage. Scores backed it up in the limited sample he had. I agree, though. September afternoon games, it doesn't matter if you're in Provo or Salt Lake. They can be burning hot and uncomfortable.
Now, the folks in Tucson are going to bring sweaters.
This is great.
Light jackets.
It's not 110. I'll take it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, it's 96. Wow, this is awesome.
They're going to get some 10 to 15 degree break. They'll take it.
Right. So for them, it's not going to be any big deal. They're used to that. And that's why, although September is
got your dry heat right here. I'll tell you about dry heat.
The U of A and Devils play September day games at home. You can't. It's just so freaking hot. And even in October.
Even October, it can be pretty brutal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the Utes went down there in first week of November a few years back, and people were complaining. It was an afternoon game. When the Cougars went down, once you get past Thanksgiving, then you're okay. In fact, then you think, this is awesome.
Oh, yeah. That's why millions of people live there. December, January, February is spectacular.
When Utah State played New Mexico State in the bowl game in Tucson, I went down to help out Scotty, and I remember getting there, walking in the booth, and he looks at me and he says, why'd you ever move from here?
Come back in July.
Because it was post-Christmas. And it was like 75, 80 degrees that day. And it was a day game. And it was, it's spectacular, which is, that's what people talk about. It's like they always talk about, I just was with somebody yesterday who spent a week in Portland. And they told me, and it didn't rain the whole time. Well, that's because it rains a lot, and you tell me it didn't rain the whole time. You're admitting it rains a lot by telling me it didn't rain at all. Like, that's news, which means when it rains, it's not news. And I wouldn't want to live there for that very reason, having spent so much of my life, 2/3 of my life, where the sun shines more often than not in the 3 states that I've lived in, including here. So that's a great selling point for BYU, that the respect you're getting for your program, and it's a great opportunity to showcase the program even more at that point, because obviously that's 3:30 back east, and that's an opportunity to display your program, what you're about. And so if I'm BYU, I'm fired up. And if I'm Arizona, I'm fired up too, and we'll see what happens that day. But Arkansas signs up for it, and should Arkansas get consideration by the TV people? I'd like to think so, because their AD is right. They're not going to get home until about 6 a.m. But even on this side of the country, so you're getting home at 4 a.m. What the crap is the difference?
You'd like to think you're getting some consideration, but you're not, and there's years of it, and you know this better than anybody following ASU. The Arizona and Arizona State people would always give quotes for whoever called them about a story about what it was like to go to Washington or Washington State. That's a longer flight than Salt Lake to Arkansas. And there are all those stories coming out about them getting back to campus as the sun is rising.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely lost
stinks.
night. It's a lost day. Yeah.
But they all sold their souls for television.
That's what the money's for.
And so once you sell your soul to television, you've lost the right to complain, even though you want to complain.
Nobody
Now, I
wants to
guess
hear
for
it.
Arkansas, this is a newness. They're not used to this.
Arkansas fans, if they're stunned by this and they're complaining, fine. It's not their job. But for the AD, it's your job, and you know how the TV windows work. And
But
you
I
know,
can see why he's complaining, though, because they don't do this. Rich Rod used to complain about it all the time. Every time.
Yep.
He would do it.
He hated it.
Yeah.
He hated it.
And nobody likes it. I've spoken to both
Utah and BYU people will both tell you this sleep disruption.
the athletic department.
Yeah, right.
You're done. Sunday, you are done. You might as well not even have Sunday because you're not doing anything. It's a wasted day.
You don't. If you're awake, you don't feel right, and
No.
you don't sleep well if you're asleep. I mean, the whole thing's messed up.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever traveled like that, you know what it's like.
Yeah. Unless
And you're right,
have
by
some bizarre
showing up
calendar that you live by.
Getting home at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or 6 a.m., it's all messed up. The next day's a wreck.
The most, I don't know what would be, the glaring example is that I covered BYU. It was either Michigan or Michigan State. I can't remember. And Utah is playing, I think, Oregon. So up in Eugene, and it's a late night start, right? And so I'm at the Detroit airport, and I got early flight. It's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm texting with some Utah coaches who hadn't gone to bed yet to get info on their game. How did it go?
So you've already gone to bed, gotten up, and gotten to the airport.
Yes.
And yet they haven't gone to bed. They're still on their Saturday. You're already on your Sunday, but you're both wide awake because it's so jacked up.
Yes. And I think it was the game where they creamed them.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Okay.
And
went up there
and one of the guys, that was the week where
somebody told you that was going to happen, and then it did, and they hung 60 on her. Like, you weren't kidding, dude.
Yeah, that was the time you could be out on the practice field and sort of mingle afterward. And I'm talking to one of the guys, and he says, "Oh man, we got this." And I said, "Like, yeah. You know, as I thought I was a little shuck and jiving." He stops dead in his tracks, looks at me, and I like to think one of the good things that I do, and there are not many, is if people tell me something and I look in their eyes and they really believe it, I'm going to believe it. And I could still recall, he stopped in his tracks, he looked at me, and he said, "No, we've got this." And the way he said it is like, "Okay, coach." I believe you. And then they went out and it kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And they had been watching film that whole week and blah, 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 probably in the summer.
And they knew. Yeah, they did. And they were right.
And they said that. And I remember his eyes when he said it, and he stopped and he looked at me and I think, ooh, man. If I would have, I don't gamble. But that was a little insider trading right there.
That was, it was. But that was an era where Oregon.
You need one of these prediction markets to be around at that point.
That was an era where Oregon and USC, the Utes hadn't caught them yet. They were closing, but they hadn't caught them yet. And they were still taking some heat for it. So it was super satisfying to get over that hump. And then, subsequently, there's big games against both of those schools. And they were well over the hump at that point. But it was stunning at that point. It was a little surprising that they'd win, and it was stunning that they'd win easily.
Did you ever get scared by eyes? Because when what they called that suspenders boy.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go. And no one's been more scared by eyes than suspenders boy.
And me and Jake Scott were right there. You can go look at the video, and you can see us. We happen to be standing right there.
Yeah.
coincidentally or whatever, and I can remember Bronco looking to his left with those eyes, and I thought, he's going to kill him.
Just go celebrate.
The eyes that Bronco had at that moment, and that kid just Wicked Witch of the West and melted.
Just go celebrate with your team, man. Just leave them alone. They're actually losing teams. You got to give it to them for all the work and effort they put in, and for the coaches who get fired and all that. They're really good at just walking off the field in this and letting the chaos and the chaotic celebration go on. Just let them.
Right, but this guy persisted and got way too close.
He did not let them.
To Bronco. Bronco took that step to his left. Ooh.
You telling me about that before I see the video, and then I see the video, and then I see the social media calling you out for lying.
Yeah. Like I made it up.
Well, and then we posted or reposted a video or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, no, the video came out very shortly after he started getting called out.
Yeah, and then everything.
Yeah, I tweeted it out because I was standing right there. I saw it live.
Well, and then the suspenders boy looked like he had something dribbling down his leg when Bronco took that step.
And that's not completely unjustified.
Oh, yeah,
Bronco played college football.
Well, the thing is, you're right.
And not everyone stands next to Bronco. Like, Bronco's not a small human being.
Correct. Coaches typically are very good about just getting off the field.
Yep.
Bronco decided, I'm breaking decorum tonight.
Well, the guy pushed it.
He did. He came
and
and got over.
Getting closer.
Correct, yes.
The physical distance was too close for comfort.
Stop.
And Bronco takes that step, and that guy...
and I'm gone.
The rivalry. That's a moment in the rivalry.
Absolutely. There are so many.
Yeah.
I just saw a list on social media. Someone put it out there. They had all the rivalries across the country, and it was number 10 in the rivalries across the country. And one in front of it was not getting played now. It's USC Notre Dame. Was like 6 or 7 or something.
This rivalry has been long since underappreciated because people don't get out here. If you'd been out here, we've all been out here. We've been to the games, and we understand the intensity of the games, and they are something to behold.
DJ PK coming up. Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBAtv contributor. What does he think the Jazz are going to do with that number 2 pick? What would he do with that number 2 pick? And does he think the Knicks have a chance against the Thunder or the Spurs? We'll talk with him about all of that coming up next. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoe.
The Jazz selecting number 2 in the upcoming NBA draft. So, if there's one thing that scares me, AJ's the safer pick. And that's what makes me nervous is that Washington is going to be like, okay, we've really swung and missed, and we've really done some problems. So let's go the safest superstar available in AJ and let somebody else take the risk on Darren. If I'm the Jazz, then I take that risk on Darren Peterson. But I exhaust every option available to me to get AJ.
I encourage everybody to go back and you do watch pre-Kansas film on Darren Peterson. I want you to watch his handle, specifically how he navigates ball screens. He can become a better passer, but he's not bad as a secondary playmaker. You just look at him, it's his frame. To me, there are real reasons why this guy can be great.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
DJ, PK, Springsteen, and Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBAtv contributor. Brian, good morning.
Good morning. It song makes me melancholy, guys. Like longing for the days where you could put your kid on your lap and let him steer the car without getting pulled over and arrested for endangering a minor.
Oh, man. What happened to those days?
Where'd they go, right?
I know. So Dad wanted to put me on a lap.
My dad did that with me.
Mom's yelling, it's not safe.
And plus,
if I had done that with my kid, I would have done 5 to 10.
And if you were like mine, both parents with the windows up smoking.
There you go, right?
Have some secondhand smoke, kid.
That's funny. What's doing, boys?
There are multiple stories going here in Utah. Let's start with the Jazz and the number 2 pick in the draft. What would you do if you were running the Jazz, and what do you think the Jazz will do? And if you want to start with what the Wizards are going to do, then maybe you need to start there. But unpack it for us. What are you expecting? And we'll give you a little bit of a pass, knowing full well there could be new info in the next couple of weeks and all this could change. But what are you thinking now?
Listen, I think it's going to be pretty simple for the Jazz. If the Wizards take DeBonsa, take Darren Peterson. If the Wizards take Darren Peterson, take A.J. DeBonsa. And it's that simple. Listen, I love Caleb Wilson. I think he's going to be an excellent player in the NBA. I just would never want to be the team president or the GM that passed on either DeBonsa or Peterson. So if you have one of them there to grab, you got to grab one of them. I think sometimes we can look at the top of a draft and overcomplicate things. This is not really something that's overcomplicated. For all the hand-wringing over Darren Peterson, he still averaged 20 points a game in 19 games, playing for Kansas on a top-level schedule. And even with the cramping issues and some of it being his agent, kind of forgetting the fact that Kansas paid him a lot of money to be there and worry about your NBA career, even with all of those things, once he signs an NBA contract and hits the NBA, the kid has been acting like a pro and handling himself like a pro from early stages of high school. So I wouldn't be terribly worried about him. And I think for the Jazz, this is a simple decision. Whatever the Wizards do, take the other guy.
A couple things there that, they can have an opportunity to trade. But to me, there's 4 guys of the Jazz right now that I wouldn't consider trading. It's the 2 big guys, Markkanen Jackson, Keontae George, and Ace Bailey. Do you view them as something that the Jazz, if they really, really wanted DeBonsa, because if they really want him, they can get him. But I don't want him at the price of having to move any of those 4.
I would agree with that. Listen, I would tell you this. If somebody made you a Godfather deal for Markkanen at that salary, you'd have to listen to it. The problem is no one's making you a Godfather deal for Markkanen at that salary. Those salaries in excess of $50 million, and we've talked about that, guys, are hard to move no matter how good the player is. And listen, one of the reasons the Jazz got Jaren Jackson Jr. for what I think was a discounted price for the player that he is because of how hard those higher salaries are to move. So, would I give Ace Bailey to move up from 2 to 1? The answer is absolutely not. I mean, Keontae George, would I consider it? Maybe, but I don't think the Wizards are doing that. So I just listen. If I'm the Wizards, I'm not trading out of this number 1 pick. This is a draft where the Wizards spent a whole lot of time. The Jazz too, by the way. The Pacers. We can keep going with all the teams. They spent months doing everything they could to be bad to get this pick. The Wizards got it. Where are you trading it? What are you doing with it? I mean, yeah, again, you can get a Godfather offer to go from 1 to 2 and look at it, but I don't know on any planet if that makes sense for the Jazz. Both of these teams are likely to get players that are going to be transcendent types of players for their organizations. Lean into your luck. Take the guy that's available for you to take there. And again, I say this, guys, I love Caleb Wilson. I would take him ahead of Cam Boozer. I know there's some consideration for Cam Boozer at the Jazz too that I've heard, and I love Cam Boozer. I think he's going to be a very good NBA player. I just think that's kind of absurd because the other 3 guys are athletically superior to him, and I think you have to make sure you're taking especially when the skill and ability are also there. I think you have to take the best athlete that you can get your hands on. And to me, again, I look at DeBonsa and Peterson and Caleb Wilson as significantly better athletes than Cam Boozer.
And for the people who are listening to this and they're freaking out thinking, man, I just don't trust Peterson to play in this era. He's going to be like Embiid. He's going to be playing 40 games a year and taking himself out. And you don't have any fear of that? You think that whatever happened in Kansas was kind of weird and it was a year of college basketball and it didn't look great, but it doesn't say anything going forward about his availability and his talent?
I don't think, listen, availability-wise, he had a cramping problem. They're saying it was related to creatine. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. But it was enough of an issue that his camp felt the need to address it in pre-draft stuff. And I think that element is important because there's a degree of accountability behind it. And don't get me wrong, Darren Peterson wants to be the number one pick. They're going to say whatever they have to say to get there. But they didn't want to ignore it. They wanted to make sure that they addressed it. And I think what's important to understand is that the public view of Darren Peterson has only been what they've seen at Kansas. What he did in high school, what he did in the AAU circuit, he was never that guy. And listen, I have a unique perspective on Darren Peterson because my radio partner, Sam Mitchell, coached him for 3 summers in AAU and knows Darren and Darren's family very well. Darren's a serious basketball player. Darren's serious about being out on the floor, and some of this was maybe getting missteered by an agent a little bit, but I think his family's kind of on board with the fact that that was not the right approach. And I think they look at it this way, is that approach may cost him something. It may have cost him the number 1 overall pick, which I think means a lot to him. So my point is this. If you get Peterson at 2, my opinion, knowing what I know about Darren Peterson, is you're going to get a really highly skilled, motivated young player with a chip on his shoulder to prove that his detractors are dead wrong. So I think if DeBonsa goes 1, you take Peterson 2, and you don't think twice. It's not a pick you should be holding your nose while you're making. You bring this kid in and you let him do what he does, because I think he's going to be a very, very special NBA player.
Okay, then you just said something to me that is really profound and is causing me to just eliminate the thinking that I might have had negatively about Darren Peterson, because I got the satellite radio. I listen to your show. I know Coach Mitchell calls you Geltz and all that stuff, and I can go back and forth. And to me, this guy is a walking encyclopedia of basketball as a player and a coach. Now, obviously, he's doing it in media stuff. And if at that point, if I'm Ryan Smith, Danny Ainge, Austin Ainge, I just make one phone call. There's a lawyer out here. One phone call. That's all he uses as his advertising campaign. And I make it to Sam Mitchell. And if you're telling me, Geltz, that Sam Mitchell signs off on Darren Peterson, I'm not sure I need any more proof that he's the guy to take if he's available, if Sam Mitchell is signing off on him.
Listen, Sam knows him better than anybody. He really does. And listen, when they were choosing where to go to college, Sam was involved in that process too. And there was at times, and I'm not going to, name names in this, but there was times that I know Sam had conversations with coaches that didn't necessarily match his energy for Darren. And Sam's opinion was that if you're not matching the enthusiasm that I have for this kid, after I've coached this kid for 3 summers, maybe you shouldn't get him. Maybe you shouldn't go there. And Sam passed that along to Darren's dad and Darren's family and let them know, listen, this team may not be they may tell you they're hot on you, but they're not as hot on you as you think. Sam has an incredible amount of faith in Darren Peterson. I will also say this, guys, and I think it's very, very important to note this as while we're talking about Sam. Sam's the same guy that picked the Knicks to win the NBA championship, and he picked the Knicks Spurs in his final. And I find that very interesting. He also picked Minnesota upset Denver in the first round. So Sam's kind of on his game these days. So when Sam's telling me all these things about Darren Peterson, and listen, we have plenty of guests from the college basketball world that have different opinions about Darren Peterson on our show. Sam will to whoever we're talking to, whether it's Fran Fraschilla, Jay Billis, Sam will back Darren in every way. He has, an unwavering belief in not only who the kid is, but who the kid can be.
Does Sam still think the Thunder and the Spurs is going to go to the Spurs?
He does. I do too, by the way. Guys, I do too. I think the Spurs what's happened in Game 5 is going to end up being a little bit of fool's gold for the Thunder, and follow my logic here. I mean, guys, in all the years of watching basketball, and you guys been around a while, have you ever seen, forget about a player, a team that flopped more than Oklahoma City flopped in Game 5? I mean, guys, I've taken heat in the NBA media world because I'm generally pro-flop, because I believe it's a part of gamesmanship, and it's the responsibility of the referees to sniff that stuff out. That was too much for me. Every time somebody shoots the ball, they're falling on the ground. And the refs fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. What did Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have, 33 points on 7 made field goals? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, it was a parade to the free throw line. And on the other end, Isaiah Hartenstein, and I give him credit, he's been the second most important player for the Thunder in the series. He's beating the crap out of Victor Wembanyama. And so I think there was the officiating. I'm not blaming the loss there because Oklahoma City played very well. And Jared McCain has been an enormously important player for them in this series in the absence of Jalen Williams and A.J. Mitchell. With all that said, when there's going to be a light here shined on the officiating, and I think we're done with blowouts in this series. I think it's going to be close games the rest of the way, and you're going to get a close game. That could tip the scales towards San Antonio, because here's the other thing with San Antonio. What's happening to Wembanyama off the ball, the referees are a little too focused on what's happening on the ball, and I think that's an adjustment San Antonio has to make. You're hearing a lot of people talking about Wembanyama getting more touches deeper in the paint. I actually think where he gets the touches aren't even as important. He just has to have the ball, and part of that, and I would use him in inverted pick and rolls as an initiator on the wing on offense, put it in his hands and let a smaller guy, I mean, everybody's a smaller guy when it comes to Wembanyama, but let a guard screen for him and let him work that way and make Hartenstein guard him in space a little bit. What's going to happen? The physicality of Hartenstein is going to be noticed by the officials more. And here's the thing. It's so important for San Antonio. If they can get Isaiah Hartenstein in foul trouble and get him off the floor, Wembanyama then becomes unguardable for OKC. So I think you have a lot of light shined on how Game 5 was officiated, and I think as you go into Game 6, that's a massive, massive advantage for the San Antonio Spurs, because the even, listen, there's a missed goaltend, and then the next play, the ball goes out of Chet Holmgren's foot. The referee ignores Mitch Johnson, who certainly made the challenge signal in enough time, and maybe we have to have NBA coaches throwing red flags like we have NFL coaches, because the fact is you got to be able to go back and look at it on video and stop that game and say that man asked for a challenge before play started. And so that was another big problem. But again, all these officiating issues that have had a massive light shined on them and a spotlight put on them here in the off day, those are going to play a role. The officials in tonight's game are not going to want to get trashed like Tony Brothers' crew got trashed after what happened in Game 5. And I think that's going to be massive, massive for the San Antonio Spurs and more involvement for Victor Wembanyama. The other thing is this for the Spurs. The guards have to be more patient. De'Aaron Fox especially. De'Aaron Fox has played very poorly in this series, and there's a direct correlation to Wembanyama's lack of touches and De'Aaron Fox being on the floor. He's going to have to play through Wembanyama a heck of a lot more. And the other thing is Castle's got to be more patient. If you don't get it to Wembanyama on the first look, you got to go back for a second and a third and a fourth and a possession. You can't just default the threes off the dribble. So that San Antonio's got some changes to make, but if you hear everything I'm saying, it's all pretty simple for them outside of the officiating. On the defensive end of the floor, listen, go back to your Game 4 formula. Let Shea get his. If you have to switch everything and Shea gets his, fine, let him get his. But you can't have Alex Caruso getting 20 and Jared McCain getting 21. Those guys have to be guarded much better, and San Antonio is deep enough on the defensive end of the floor that those guys shouldn't be hard to shut down.
I'm excited that the Knicks are in the finals. I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to go back in the memory bank. 1973. I'm living in Parsippany, New Jersey. I'm best buddies with the mayor's son. The mayor was a guy named Henry Luther. His son, Michael, who later became mayor of Parsippany. Henry I was his best friend. So Mayor Luther has tickets to the Knicks and the Lakers in the NBA Finals, and they invite me. And my father, who grew up in East Orange and loved basketball, was just as jealous as could possibly be because they didn't have an extra ticket for him. And his dorky son gets to go to the Garden. And I remember sitting there in 1973 and looking at, you're telling me that's Walt Frazier right there, that's Jerry West right there, Willis Reed is over here, and Wilt Chamberlain's over there. I was in heaven. And I remember the area, the New York, New Jersey, all that, and even in the Connecticut, although I don't consider Connecticut much, but that's just me. The point is that, man, the town, the city, the area, the region was just electric. And I remember it to this day. And I can only imagine what it's going to be now with the Knicks being there. Tell us how it is as far as the whole area, the region, with the Knicks in the finals this year.
Here's what I'm going to say about the New York metropolitan area, okay? What you have, PK, here is a situation where when the Knicks are great like this, not good, great like this, The Knicks are the biggest thing there is. Bigger than the Giants, bigger than the Rangers, bigger than the Yankees. I'm going to say it again. Bigger than the Yankees. It's the biggest thing going in this area. And so much of it with the Knicks is based upon the kind of nostalgia that you just talked about. Now, listen, my father was a Hall of Fame college basketball player at New York Rutgers from 1945 to 1950. When my father, he was also a college basketball snob, which made him not a big NBA fan. And he ended up being an enormous New York Rangers fan and a season ticket holder for many years. As I grew up, I had the basketball thing in my blood, and I loved the NBA from a young age. And listen, I checked my Knick fandom at the door years ago when I started covering the league because I just felt that was a necessary discipline for me to be as objective as possible.
Yeah, right.
But, listen, my father was a Knick fan because I was a Knick fan as a kid. I have a son that's a big Knick fan. But I can remember sitting there, and I had a scorebook where I would sit and write the Knicks starting five, the other team's starting five, and I would literally keep the book sitting in front of the TV with my father. And I can remember the starting lineup, Tom McMillan, Jim McMillan, Bob McAdoo, Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson. Those were the teams that I sat and followed as a kid and shared that with my old man. Now, my old man's been gone for, it's almost 9 years now. But I can only imagine his appreciation of what this would have been and how much he would enjoy this kind of team. Because here's what I'm going to say about the New York Knicks. It's not only what they're achieving and what they're accomplishing, it's how they're doing it. This is, and I'm careful when I make these comparisons, but this is a lot like the 70 team and the 73 team in the terms of the sweet spot of where unselfishness meets discipline. When the Knicks are so unselfish, they don't care who scores whatever baskets. It doesn't matter to them right now. This is truly that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole type of thing. They're doing it all together, but it's also a discipline where when they find a weakness in you, they are going to continue to pick and gnaw at that weakness until it just broke you, until you bleed out. That's how and that's discipline. That's a team that understands we got to keep going to something until they stop it, and they don't get away from it. And it's really, it's a tribute to Mike Brown and his coaching staff, and they've done a super, super job of kind of growing with this group, understanding what's been needed. I give Chris Gent a ton of credit as one of his lead assistants. Rick Brunson has done a great job in assisting his son to adjust on the fly, and Jalen's become a better player for it. Listen, everybody forgets about Jalen Brunson, guys. He made his bones as an off-ball player in this league, playing next to Luka Doncic. He's an excellent off-ball player, and outside of Steph Curry, moves off the ball better than any guard in the NBA. Taking him off the ball more. Look how little he brings the ball up for the Knicks. Running the offense through Towns, who promised Chris Gent and Mike Brown that everybody would see the ball if you run it through me, and everybody is seeing the ball. But Rick Brunson's gotten his son to buy into not having the ball in his hands as much. And when you're an alpha like Jalen Brunson, and that's how you think, that's a hard adjustment. He's made it almost seamlessly. So the Knicks have everything together right now, and I will tell you this, as great as these two West teams are that we're seeing compete in this Western Conference Final have been, it would be very naive to believe that the Knicks right now, with rest, momentum, chemistry, and depth, that do not sleep on these Knicks in the finals, especially when you're going to get a compromised version of either OKC or San Antonio in the final because of injuries, because of guys being beaten up, because of what this series takes out of both teams. The Knicks are a very, very viable championship contender right now with a very good chance to go and beat one of these teams in an NBA final.
I think their secret superpower is that Brunson didn't go out and leverage $50 million the way so many stars do. He's on $35 million. That depth you talk about, $15 million gets you Josh Hart or I don't know, a collection of guys. I don't know which guys they'd be missing if he went out, but there's only one. There's Bridges. Yeah, you're right. Bridges. Good point. There's 3 teams left in the playoffs, and Cat is the only player making over $40 million, and that I think has been a factor in building out these teams.
No doubt about it. Listen, let's talk about Karl Anthony Towns for a minute, because Jalen Brunson gets all the glory as the leader. Without Towns' individual sacrifice, and we can go through it. Okay, Karl Towns doesn't shoot the ball a lot for a guy that's one of the best shooting big men in the NBA. Okay? He's averaged 6 assists a game in the playoffs. He has been the best defensive rebounder on any team in the playoffs, and that includes Victor Wembanyama. He was the second best defensive rebounder this season in the NBA behind Nikola Jokic. And his defense has gone from being poor to literally being very good. When they funnel things to the paint, Towns has become an excellent paint defender. He has changed his game to fit what this team has needed, and his buy-in has been more meaningful than anybody's. Here's another thing that I think is really, really important, and you see people question this, and this happen all the time. Mikal Bridges was terrible in Games 2 and Games 3 of the Atlanta series, to a point that a big narrative in New York is, do you not start Bridges and put Landry Shamet or Miles McBride in the starting lineup? Mike Brown wouldn't even think of it. He put Bridges right back in the starting lineup with the thought, if Bridges can't get it going and is struggling and is not in a great place mentally, I can always go to somebody else. But not starting the guy means that I lose the guy. Think about what would have happened with Bridges and where he would have been, because he is a little fragile mentally and emotionally, if they had not started him and decided to abandon that. Mike Brown's faith in him when he was playing at his worst has actually gotten him in a very fast trajectory to be playing at his best. And that's the kind of thing when you have faith in your guys. And listen, we saw Kenny Atkinson ran away from Dean Wade in Game 4 of the Knicks series, and I don't necessarily blame him, but, you know, when you start to kind of dump guys and lose faith in guys, they lose faith in themselves. Mike Brown stood by Bridges, by the way, in the same way that Tom Thibodeau did when he had struggles the year before. It's just become commonplace with the Knicks culture. Here's one other thing, and I know that it's been some convenient for some Knicks fans to say, hey, this would not have happened if Tibbs were here. I don't necessarily believe that, and I do think the one guy that is not getting enough credit for the Knicks being where they are is the guy that brought them to this point up till this year, which is Tom Thibodeau, who a culture that the Knicks have a second nature right now in terms of how they guard and how they play for one another. That's something that Tom Thibodeau instilled in this roster, this organization, and this franchise over the 5 years that he was there.
Geltz, we got to leave it right there. Thanks for your time. As always, we love talking basketball, talking draft, and talking playoffs with you.
Always my pleasure, guys. Let's do it again soon. You guys take care.
He's Brian Geltzeiler, SiriusXM NBA radio host and NBA TV contributor. More in a moment. Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer at 9:05. We will talk a spring football tour and Bearcat football with him. Stay with us.
For Jazz fans, it's been a rough few years. Well, those days are behind us as the Utah Jazz finally struck gold in the NBA Draft Lottery. Picking second. As the Jazz prepare to draft a potential superstar with the number 2 overall pick, nobody will bring you better coverage of the NBA Draft than the KSL Sports Zone. For all the breaking news, high-profile interviews, and player analysis leading right up to draft night, keep it locked on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball, 97.5. The KSL Sports Zone.
Thumbtack presents Uncertainty Strikes. I was surrounded. The aisle and the options were closing in. There were paint rollers, satin and matte finish, angle brushes, and natural bristles. There were too many choices. What if I never got my living room painted? What if I couldn't figure out what type of paint to use? What if I just used Thumbtack? I can hire a top-rated pro that knows everything about interior paint, easily compare prices, and read reviews. Thumbtack knows homes. Download the app today.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on Carvana. Delivery fees may apply.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. They make it super simple. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with coverage options tailored to your choices. Plus, you'll see which discounts you may qualify for, like the online quote discount or savings for paying in full. In fact, 99% of Progressive Auto customers earn at least one discount. See if you could save when you switch to Progressive. You'll feel good about making a savvy choice. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little extra cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who save with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tim Dolly Mazda, 10785 South Auto Mall Drive in Sandy. So you're buying airline tickets right now for Austin Ainge, Danny Ainge, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Deep dive into the background.
I think Sam Mitchell is an extremely credible NBA analyst, NBA person, NBA lifer.
You've heard his show. You've heard his takes. You obviously have known his name for a long time. And now, 3 years with DP.
I did not know that.
I did not either.
I've talked to Sam Mitchell.
All right.
If that means anything.
I have not.
I have. But I think he's got credibility. And if he's coaching the young man, he knows the family, and he's advising the young man where to go to college. That means the family trusts Sam. Mm-hmm. They've got a relationship there. Sam is at the top of my list. And if I'm Jay-Z and the Ainges, I don't know where Sam lives, Midwest somewhere. I go to his house, and I say, Sam, I need about 3 hours. And I go there. We sit on the back porch.
On his turf.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go eat? Let's talk.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come to us. I come to you. So I'm not inconveniencing you.
Right.
I value what you have to say extremely.
No Mo Green territory here. You know stuff I need to know.
Yeah. And he has a certain bias, but he also understands the position he's going to be in, and he's not going to say stuff that is going to mislead you. He's going to tell you as it is, as he sees it.
I don't worry about the bias at all because everybody they're talking to about these players is going to have that kind of bias.
Yeah.
Everything we hear about these guys, super likable. These are people who've been pulling for him, working with him forever. They're largely going to want him to succeed. If anything, you have to do a little digging to find the people like, okay, who's had some run-ins with these people? Who has something negative to say? Who does it? Because most people are probably in their corner.
Yeah,
not automatically,
to me,
but a
the
lot.
top two guys now are Sam Mitchell and Bill Self. And
there's a long history of college coaches not telling the truth.
But I don't see where.
But everyone's got their bias, and you just got
Bill
to.
has no reason to lie.
But that's why you talk to a lot of people, and you cross-reference stuff, and what keeps popping up.
Bill Self has no agenda. He can't benefit from this. If he never coaches a game again, and he's had some health issues, he's already at the top. So he can express himself
It's not going to matter
freely.
a lot to the Kansas program whether Peterson goes 1 or 2.
Yeah.
How much NIL Kansas has will have more of an impact on the Kansas program going forward.
And so to have Sam Mitchell, an NBA guy, player, coach, offer what he thinks of Darren Peterson, that's powerful.
Scott Springer, Cincinnati Bearcats beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer, joins us next. Stay with us.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Summer is all about freedom, fun, and growing up. And between the ages of 9 and 13, kids are starting to form their views about alcohol. With more independence, their still developing brains need more guidance and support than ever. That's why summer is the perfect time to stay connected and plan fun, safe family activities together. Research shows kids who spend quality time with their parents doing what they enjoy are less likely to drink underage. And when kids feel close to you, they're more likely to listen, especially when you set clear expectations. In fact, kids who drink before 15 are far more likely to struggle with alcohol later. This summer, create a no-bummer summer with fun, alcohol-free activities for your kids. Go to summer.parentsempowered.org to take a quick quiz and discover ideas tailored to your family. A little time together can make a big difference. For more information and to learn more about how to prevent underage drinking, visit parentsempowered.org.